Hello teacher, today I'm going to present my final thesis and I'm going to talk about environment. Environment, what it is, definition, characteristics, and care. The environment refers to the integration of all living and non-living beings and the interaction that they naturally have between them. The environment is a system made up of natural and non-artificial elements that are interrelated and modified by human action. That is, it is not only about the space in which life develops, but it also includes living things, objects, water, soil, air, and the relationships between them. Definition of environment. The definition of environment is the space in which the life of living beings develops and that allows the interaction of them. However, this system is not only formed by living beings, but also by abiotic lifeless elements and artificial elements. Characteristic of environment. Organisms, water, air, temperature, geographical feature, living organisms. Organisms, groups of individuals of different species, both animal and plant, do the same until they find their space and establish population. Water. Both the presence and absence of this vital liquid is something that directly affects the balance of environment. Also corresponds to a key substance for the subsistence of organisms. Air. From the chemical composition of this element, it is possible to identify pollution states. On the other hand, it can influence the quality of oxygen involved in breathing. Temperature. This magnitude that refers to the heat that measured by means of a thermometer can compromise with quiet the environment, getting that the air can be perceived cold or hot. Since some organisms only survive within certain temperature range, this can often be synonymous with deterioration. Geographical features. These are the elements that constitute the relief on an area, for example, valleys and mountains. Living organisms. These are fundamental pieces of the environment since they form the direct action in the alteration or maintenance of the environmental process. Living, animate, or inanimate beings that we can see and find in our environment. In this field are all living beings, animate or inanimate, as are bacteria, virus, mammals and vertebrates, amphibians, marines, birds, plants, and fungi. Care of the environment. The following are actions we recommend to avoid to help with environmental care: drinking bottled water, useless air conditioning, delete trash incorrectly, use the car for everything, leave electrical appliances, connect. The care of the environment should not only be a concern of the companies. It is also the households that have to do their bit and get to work as soon as possible to collaborate in the care of our environment. On the contrary, the following are actions we recommend to follow to help with the care of the environment are: create a green space at home, separating the trash, consume fair water, consider renewable energy at home, separating and recycling waste, using public transport. Environmental problems. Pollution of fresh water and the seas, air pollution, destruction of the ozone layer, destruction of forests, urban waste, elimination of diversity. The causes that threaten our planet with a radical change in the ecosystem are due to the following elements: pollution of fresh water and the seas, caused by industrial activity and cities; air pollution from industry and cars. The generation of greenhouse gases represents a global warming hazard that could change the global climate. Destruction of the ozone layer as a result of the emission of certain industrial gases. The loss of this atmospheric layer will leave the Earth unprotected against solar radiation. Destruction of forests. The loss of natural vegetation, coupled with global warming, allows a rapid advance of deserts. Urban waste. The accumulation of waste is a serious problem in modern cities. Elimination of biodiversity. The loss of biological diversity impoverishes the global ecosystem and deprives humanity of important resources. Posters of the care of the environment. Here, some illustrations found and allude to the care of the environment and its various problems. Reduce, recycle, reuse, let's care our head together, respect the environment, etc. Importance of the environment. Areas of specialization: food, energy, and natural resource. All organisms obtain from the environment all the elements they need to live, from air and water to shelter and food that allows them to grow, develop, and obtain energy. Maintaining the balance of the environment is fundamental to maintain life on Earth as we know it. In addition, humans use a lot of natural resources of the environment to meet their needs, such as clothing, food, and everyday objects, among other examples. That is why human beings must know and take care of their interaction with the environment in order to sustainably manage their natural resources that allow their economic growth and development. Fauna and flora are of vital importance of the environment as they have an interdependence that enables the balance of species and the development of the biodiversity. The survival of man depends to a large extent on the interactions and conscious use of flora, fauna, and natural resources, as well as on the development of the social, political, and economic relations that are part of his environment. When human beings take care of a biotic factor, for example, rivers in a region, and a biotic factor such as trees in a forest, they maintain and preserve the future of their species. the future of the other organisms and that of future generations. Environmental transformation. Man is a part of the environment. However, his activity produces change. The transformation of the natural environment into a humanized environment has followed the following steps: agriculture and livestock, scientific and technical progress, and industrialization. Discovery of agriculture and livestock increase food availability, the change in appearance in the landscape. Scientific and technical advance which increase human survival capacity. Realization of works of all types, building, roads, canals, bridges, etc. Industrialization since in the 18th century, which produced effects of radical change in the environment on a planetary scale. Population growth facilitated by the above points forced human beings to colonize new territories and change of them for their own benefit. Throughout the 20th century, humanity had surpassed the figure of 6 billion inhabitants and occupied virtually the entire planet. Forests and cleared for timber and new agricultural areas and marine and subsoil resources and explored on such a scale that they are quickly depleted. All of these activities have resulted in a general transformation of planetary ecosystem to such an extent that human action can pose a serious threat to the long-term maintenance of a life Earth. Industry and environment. Industry and environment pollution. Chemical, physical, and biological agents. Conservation of the environment. Environmental pollution is defined as a presence of chemical, physical, or biological agents in the environment that may have harmful effects on the safety and health of living beings. As the population began to grow and increases in technology, the impact of human beings on the natural environment began to be greater and more harmful. Chemical pollution. This type of pollution consists in the alteration of the environment by the intervention of an external agent that causes transformation, mostly harmful in living beings, the soil, the air, and the planet in general. Physical pollutions are different forms of energy that can produce alterations in the environment and affects the health of people. Noise is defined as the ongoing sound that interferes with human activity and can cause harm to human health. Biological pollution occurs when organisms break down elements of great importance to soil, water, and air. Normally, the organisms that cause biological contamination are parasites, bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Industry and environment. The industrial development leads to a strong socioeconomic reactivation and an improvement the quality of life of the population, but it may also bring